Hi gentlemen, today we're looking at a bit of a newer mathematical concept. It's kind of stepping up a bit. One of the truly, what can be quite difficult concepts we've done in Year 6. It's one I really like doing because I find it really useful in real life as well. If we're finding percentages of a number, it's really handy to have if you're shopping, you see a percentage of. Happens more than you think. Let's go through it. There's two different strategies that you can use to solve these, and depending on the question, depends on the strategy that you have to use. So I've just snippied a page from the book here. So this is at the top of one of the pages we're looking at for this concept. So if you get lost, go back over to the top, and then you've got it there. So we're looking at finding percentages of a number. So we've got this strategy here and this strategy here. And they're kind of the same, but it just involves a different base for how to do it. So basically, if you can solve the problem by, I have explained that terribly. Let's start again. If the question is about taking 25, 50, or 75% of a number, you can use this strategy here. And it takes what we already know about common fractions. So we know that 1/4 is 25%. We know that 1/2 is 50%. And we know that 3/4 is going to be 75%. So finding 25% of something is quite simple. Because we know that 25% is 1/4 of the total cost, what we can do for an amount is we can just divide by 4. So you can see in this example, we're trying to find 25% of 180. So the way we find 1/4 of 180 is to 180 divided by 4, and then we can put that in an algorithm, do it however we want, and we would find out the answer is $45. Therefore, 25% of $180 is $45. If you were trying to find 50%, sometimes you can very easily divide by 2 in your head. If you need to write an algorithm, that's fine as well. If you're asked to find 75% of an item, what I like doing is I divide by 4 to figure out what 1/4 of the cost is, and then I times that number by 3, because then that'll give me 3/4 or 75% of the total cost. And we'll look at doing that for some working out as an example in a second. The second way is if you're asked to find a percentage that's either 10, 20, 30, 40, 60, 70, 80, or 90%. And what it gets you to do is, if we're trying to work out what 30% of 1,000 is, it says that if we know what 1/10 of that amount is, then if we divide it by the number that we're trying to find the percent of, so for example like the 30 there, then we get the answer. I've explained that terribly as well, but let's go through it. Basically, if we're trying to work out 30% of $1,000, what we do is we work out what 1/10 of it is first, because 1/10 is 10%. So for $1,000, we know that 1/10 is $100. So we know that 10% of 1,000 is 100, and then all we need to do to get that to 30% is times it by 3. So if we look at these two questions down here, we'll do some examples and see what that working out looks like when we're actually asked a problem. So you can see down here on my questions, question A says, well, you need to work out what 30% of $240 is. Now I'm just going to scroll down so I can get some working out space. Now, to do that, if I'm trying to work out 30% of $240, I first need to work out what 1/10 of $240 is. So 1/10 of $240 is really easy to calculate in your head because it's just doing 240 divided by 10. And we know when we divide by 10, we're basically just eliminating the 1's place value. So 1/10 of $240 is $24. Now to work out 30%, because I know that 1/10 is the equivalent to 10%, I just need to multiply that answer by 3. So if I do $24, that is a dodgy 2. If I do $24 and then multiply that by 3, whoa, what is going on? If I do $24 and multiply it by 3, 4 3s are 12, carry the 1, 3 times 2 is 6 and 1 is 70, then I have worked out that 30% of $240 is equal to $72. And I was able to solve that by first working out what 10% of 240 was, then multiplying by 3 to get my 30%. Let's look at B here. B says work out 75% of 800. So 75% of 800. Now, this strategy I know I can easily divide by 4 to work out what 1/4 is, or 25%, and then just multiply that by 3 to get up to the 75%. So the first thing I'm going to do is work out what 1/4 of 800 is, And the way that I'm going to go about solving that is, my pen has stopped working again. There it goes. I'm going to do 800 divided by 4. Now, I like the algorithm, so I like chucking it in a nice algorithm for me. And I just ask myself, how many times will 4 go into 8? It will go twice with no remainder, and then I'm just going to add those two on. So I know that 25% is equal to $200. And to get to 75%, if I do 200 multiplied by 3, I'll be able to work out 3 zeros is 0, 3 times 0 is 0, and 3 times 2 is 6. So I know that 75% of 800 is 600. Now, I wasn't asked dollars for that question, so I don't need to put dollars as my answer sign. Let's do a problem-solving one now before we check out. So the question says, a PS4 has a price tag of $449. If there is a 20% off sale, how much will the PS4 cost now? And what was the total amount saved? So I need to work out what 20% of $449 is. Then I need to take that away to get my new price. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to first work out what 10% is. I know that 10% is 1/10. And to work out 10% of 449, it's really simple. It's just as simple as moving the decimal point over one place value. So I know that 10% of 449 is the exact same as, sorry, my stylus has stopped working again. So because I just moved that place value, I know that 10% is $44.90. And if I'm trying to work out 20%, if I times that number by 2, then I'm going to work out the total amount saved. So I'm just going to add it on, because timesing by 2 is the same as just adding it on. So I'm going to do $44.90 plus $44.90. 9 and 9 is 18. 4 and 4 is 8, and 1 is 9, and 4 and 4 is 8. So I know that 20% is $89.80. So that is my total amount saved. I'm going to make that clear because the question asks what's the new price and what's the amount saved. And so to work out the new price of the PS4, I'm going to do my $449, and then I'm going to take away the discount of $89.80. If you get a question like this where you've got a number that doesn't have decimals, you can just add in zeros after it to give yourself a nice algorithm. And let's do 0 take 0, 0. 0 take 8 I can't do, so I'm going to borrow from over here. 10 take 8 is 2. 8 take 9 I can't do. I'm going to borrow from here and turn that into 18. 18 take away 9 is 9. 3 take away 8 I can't do. I'm going to borrow from over here, make that 13. 13 take away 8 is 5. And 3 take 0 is 3. So my new price is $359.20, and I saved $89.80. So if we look back to the question, how much will the PS4 cost now? It will cost $359.20. And what was the total amount saved? I saved $89.80. And really, the hardest maths that I did there was, the thing that took me the most time was $449 take away 89. Working out 10% is quite simple because that place value just moves over one decimal point. And to get to 20, I just multiply by 2. So it's not really that hard mathematically. Percentages just can be pretty hard to wrap your head around at the start. Keep trying though. There's My Maths Online activities and also myself and Miss Lee in the classroom to help you. Cheers.